Oh, you're doing that? I'm sorry, this is for your panelists. Sorry,
Yes,
I'm a little behind, Luke.
Now you got me. You can hear me now?
There we go.
Can you
Awesome.
hear me now?
All right, so Jack's going to moderate a conversation with 3 local experts. I'll let him do the introductions, and we will see what they've got to say that they can share with our audience, okay?
Sounds good.
You guys probably want to be front and center based on what they did with the lighting. Okay,
Gotcha.
Here we go.
Thank you. Come on up, guys. First of all, I'll say this. I mean, this is historic times. As was referred to, yes, the Cubs won. We had a presidential election that has protests, riots all over the country. Heck, we even have a supermoon in the sky. I mean, these things don't happen all the time. So it's interesting what's going on out there. And technology-wise, and that's what we're, how to increase marketing and sales efforts through technology. Think how much technology has changed in recent years. I mean, the internet wasn't on the scene until the early to mid 90s. Zillow wasn't created until 2006. And think how all of that has changed our lives in that time period. I won't ask you to raise your hand, but I've been with RE/MAX for 25 years. And I remember when you said to a client, oh, you want a house? Well, here's the MLS book. Show me what you like. I mean, that's how much things have changed over the years. So, Nick introduced himself earlier. Now we'll let the other panelists introduce themselves quickly. Go ahead, Natalie.
I'm Natalie Brenna. I work out of the city at RE/MAX Vision in West Chicago. I'm actually a newer agent. Got my license end of January, but don't let that fool you because I've been pretty successful. I have $6 million under sales right now, closed, and another 4 projected by the end of the year. So,
awesome stuff.
Hi everyone, I'm Alice Chin. I've been in real estate since 2005, almost 12 full years now. And I have a team of agents. I just recently switched companies. I'm now at Keller Williams in downtown Naperville. And my team this year, we will have done about 130 units and just under 50 million in volume.
Nick Libert, Exit Realty in Chicago. I know I gave a very brief intro earlier. I'll just give you my numbers real quick. I've been in the business for 18 years, 9 of those with Exit. And as my team, it's a little bit smaller than Alice's. We're not quite doing her volume, which is awesome. Her volume is amazing. We do between 12 and 14 million. On my team, it's a referral-based team, and there's only 3 of us, me, a buyer's agent, and a co-lister, and we do 12 to 14 million a year, between 35 and 50 units. This year will be a record year for us, about 14, maybe 14.5 million, and about 50 units.
Hi, my name is Arlen Tratt. I'm a managing broker, owner of a franchise called Next Home Elite out of California. New this year. I've been in the business about 20 years, and on average for the last few years, my volume has been around $8.5 million. So happy to be here.
Okay. Well, Nick, since you're holding the microphone, again, this is how do we use technology to take our marketing and sales efforts to a higher level? So, I mean, let's answer that question. Let's jump right in. High level, what types of technology are you using, and specifically some of the technologies you're using to increase sales?
A couple things that on my team and what I talk to my agents about is you've really got a road in the industry. You've got, it splits in half. You're either gonna work with Zillow and Trulia and pay for your leads, which is one way to do the business. We have some agents at all the companies that are doing that very well and very successful with it. They're excellent lead converters, and they've got the time and money to invest in Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com. There are agents like myself that before any of those websites came out, we started networking, and we were sphere-based and database-based and really cultivated a database. So that's where I focus my efforts. So some of these guys that use Zillow and Trulia more may have better answers for you about that, but I know that social media has been absolutely 100% key to my business. I embraced it early, started working with Facebook and Twitter a little bit, LinkedIn in 2009, 2010, and it immediately started to affect my business, and it snowballed where over 50% of my business every year comes from social media, which obviously is free. I don't use any paid supplements to that. I don't have a consultant posting things for me on it. So I really have focused on bettering my relationship through social media. One other thing I use, if you're not using DocuSign or Dotloop, which Dotloop is what we use at Exit, I don't know how you guys are conducting business anymore. That has really transformed the way we interact as agents between each other, and then also with the consumers. They absolutely love it.
So you have a team. Does someone run your social media for you?
No, I do it all myself.
You do it yourself?
I spend about 15 minutes a day on it.
Awesome. Alice, same question.
Sure. So my team, we have 8 people on my team. So as you can imagine, it's really hard to keep us all on the same page. So we use a combination of both. So we do pay for our leads through Zillow. We love Zillow. But we also use, we pay for listing leads as well through something called Agent Machine. And that's something that we usually get at least, I would say, 2 to 3 listing leads from that service alone as well. Besides that, we use a combination, like I said, so we really touch base with our database, our sphere of influence, our past clients. We do a very intense 33 touch every single year. And this last year, we actually went back to pop buys. So we have a operations manager. She basically pulls a list from the database for every single agent as to what their pop buys are for the week, what their calls are supposed to be for the week, everything down to emails, letters, everything. So the whole team really is touching base to their database, their past clients on a regular schedule. On top of that, we went paperless about 5 years ago. We were actually one of the initial people that went paperless. We use DocuSign every day. We use something that used to be called Cardivi. It's now called, I think, DocuSign Forms or something. And then we also use Dropbox. We use the business Dropbox, not the individual, so we can all share files. And then we do use PDF Expert. We sign documents in person with our iPads. So everything that we do, it's just to make the experience easier for the end client. And that's about it.
Okay, you're talking about touching your clientele regularly. Is there a specific CRM that you use to do that?
Yes, right now we're using Top Producer. We're investigating into a couple of other ones that we think might be a better fit for real estate. I think in the next 12 months we'll probably transfer over to something called RealVolve.
Okay.
RealVolve, RealVolve.
Okay, Natalie, how does someone earn $6 million in their first 9 months in the business?
Well, when I first started, everyone told me you got to build your database, which was kind of hard for me because I'm from out of state as well. I'm from Wisconsin, so I didn't really have a database in Chicago that I could work with. So I did use Zillow and Trulia a lot, and I'm still using it currently, but just turning them and converting them into my buyers and putting them in my database. I don't plan on doing it for too long, like, my first 5 years to build that up, and then go from there. Probably try to wean off of it because it is pricey. But I also, Facebook, and I think Facebook is a good balance of, obviously you want to show that you're a realtor, but if you do more personal ads too, you'll get a lot more attraction to your site, and having a good balance of business and personal, I think keeps it interesting and people more interested and involved.
Okay.
So yeah.
Awesome. Pass it down to Arlen. Arlen, your turn. High level technology, what do you use?
I really like BombBomb. I don't know if anybody's using BombBomb, but I don't actually spend money on Zillow. I am part of Agent Machine, which I really do like. To me, I feel like the leads are a little better quality. But my system is I'll make a phone call, I'll send a BombBomb video holding up a little card with their name on it, so they have to click on it because it's a video made especially for them. It also forces me to dress up every day because I never know when I'm going to be making a BombBomb video. So that keeps me straight that way. And then I'll send if it's a listing lead, I'll send out a little handwritten note to them too. And I'll usually continue to do that for a few weeks until I actually get them on the phone and start engaging with me. So I do sort of a triple play with them, and that generally helps. That's just a very small part though. For me, I can attribute the majority of my business to working by referral, having client appreciation parties, networking events, dropping by their homes with gifts, things like that. Really goes a long way. People really appreciate that, and it just starts to spiral after time. So. But yeah, for me, for sort of cold leads, I really like BombBomb. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, we use BombBomb a lot as well and love it.
Yeah.
Do any of you use a specific online, other than social media, etc., a specific online lead generation program of any kind, or is it just work in your system, work in your database, and work in the field?
for me, like I said, I pretty much, my leads come from referrals. So I use the Referral Maker CRM, which is designed especially for working your referrals, your current database for referrals, keeping in touch with them and whatnot. That also helps track your business. And then also a little bit from Agent Machine, and there's another one called Agent Harvest that I'll be starting with soon. But yeah.
And as we're naming these things, how'd you guys find these? What you're using, how'd you find it? Did you just by use and failure, or did you have someone help you, consult with you as to what stuff to use?
So for me, for a little while, when there were more short sales and foreclosures, I was using Realty Track. I was paying for zip codes and Realty Track, and that was probably 2 years ago. I kept adding zip codes, and actually there were a lot of leads coming through. That slowly started to dry up, so I shifted away from that. I have tried Zillow. For me, I'll try things for a few months, and if they're working, great. I hold on to them. If not, then I try something else, because there are so many different companies out there, and even on Facebook, there are all these sponsored ads that pop up. So yeah, I mean, it's bright shiny object syndrome. I have it. I want to try it, and I'll spend the money. And if it's great, great. If not, I'll move on to the next thing. And a lot of these things, they're great when you first start working with them, and then over time they just kind of fizzle out, and then it's time to go on to the next thing. So, yeah. There
is so much out there. That's why we're asking these questions. Nick, trial and error, or how did you?
Trial and error, and then kind of just giving up on a couple things. I had Top Producer for a number of years. I thought it was a great product if I had 20 hours a day to learn it. And then every time I'd hire a new assistant or team member, then they would have to learn it. And quite frankly, I just maybe wasn't as tech savvy as some other people on this panel. So I gave up, and I'm like, what is the simplest one I could find out there? There was a product at that time through Market Leader. If you guys know Market Leader, they bounced and been sold by several different companies. But I was like, what's simple and what's easy? Because I know that I can sit there and try to learn this and hope that I find out every bell and whistle, or I can just do a good job of inputting people and do a database management tool, and then follow up and do some of these pop buys like Alice mentioned, and some of this more client appreciation parties like Arlen mentioned. And that's really the hands-on stuff. If you get too much in the tech, then you're out of the actual sphere with the people. And so I've just kind of tried to keep it simple. One thing that I've used, just again by trial and hopefully a quick reaction versus error, was Facebook advertising. It is so inexpensive to target an area where maybe you've got some people over there already, maybe you've done a farming, a mailing campaign, but to get out in front of those people that you've never met before for pennies a day, I was really amazed at some of the results we've received on my team.
And Nick, do you have any marketing stories that failed miserably for you?
One of my favorite marketing disasters, and I've had a few, feel free to talk to me later if you'd like to know some really good ones, was when I first started out in the business, probably my third or fourth year in the business. I had some pretty good success early, but it wasn't like I was rolling in money. And I met a very nice person who sold me on the grocery carts. And $2,000 back in 2001 was a lot more than it was today, especially to a newer agent. And those shopping carts were a disaster. Nobody cared that I was on them. I think I would have gotten more reaction if I was on a milk carton. And it was really bad. And part of the issue wasn't just them, it was me, because I had no strategy. I thought by slapping my face on and a phone number on a shopping cart, people would magically call me. I didn't really think out what was my call to action. And there was no call to action on that, and so I got no action out of it, and $2,000 went down the toilet.
So it's not high tech by any means, but call to action is obviously the key lesson from that. Alice, other things that you've used, trial and error, success?
Well, I don't want to throw any companies or anything under the bus.
Understood.
But yeah, there was a company, a lead generation company, I should be more specific, that I used that tried it for about 9 months, and it was similar to like an Agent Machine, but it was for buyer leads. And half of them were duds, and it just, after 9 months of spending, it was tens of thousands of dollars. I finally decided, you know what, this is a waste of money, and we just scrapped it, so.
All right, gotcha. Natalie, what are you using, and have you had someone help you to find these things, or are you just doing it on your own?
I do. I follow mentors of mine,
Okay.
the big top producers in the city, and go by their trial and error, which is kind of piggybacking off of that, but it's at least not my money yet. I know I mean, Facebook and the Facebook boosting and advertising with that is extremely cheap and reasonable, and I've gotten a lot of business through that too. So, yeah.
Okay, speed round. Bare minimum technology tools that that every agent on the planet has to use, and one that you're using that that you highly recommend.
I really think it's important that every single agent has an iPad, and at least two actually, if you're by yourself. So one for yourself to bring to appointments, sign stuff with clients, listing appointments, and then the second one is to give to your buyers. Because we do all of our buyer tours electronically, so they're able to then take notes, send it to we use Evernote for their files, so they can send videos of a certain house, take pictures, take their notes, then save it back to their file, and at the end of the tour they just hand it back to you because it's still yours. So optimally, minimally, I would say you should invest in that.
I echo her on Evernote. It's awesome. One thing that I've learned, and I'm just going to call it repurposing. I've been repurposing a lot of my open houses, some of my home buyer seminars, that type of stuff through Facebook Live. If you've got 3 people in the room, you could have 3,000 people at an event. I just did a rehab project. I went out on Saturday for a little broker tour. There were like 10 people there. Well, there were over 100 people on the tour. Through Facebook Live. So repurposing and making a big deal out of something that may not have the best attendance in person, you've got a huge online audience. Follow me on Facebook or LinkedIn, any of that good stuff. I've got some of those links up there.
For me, I don't know what I would do without GPS. So when I'm taking clients out, I love Waze. That has been a lifesaver for me. That lets me sell real estate anywhere around Illinois with feeling confident that I can do that. So I'd say GPS, because I've been doing this for 20 years, and 10 years ago, I went from being in this area to being anywhere that I wanted to be. Also, Facebook I think is really important. And some of the other social media sites, as far as just now they're adding the video and whatnot. I am trying really hard to break into Matterport. I don't know if anybody's using Matterport, but I think that's a really important tool for larger properties. So there's actually a Matterport booth over there. You should check it out with the VR glasses. That's the future of real estate. You put those glasses on, you can walk through a property. So that's really neat stuff.
Yeah, there was a drone in here earlier this morning. I don't know where that went, but that was kind of fun to watch as well. GPS, I gotta tell you, I'm a map guy. I love maps, and I had the Rand McNally Atlas in my glove box, and some of the younger folks I work with one day looked at me and finally said, "Would you get rid of that thing? There's a thing called GPS." Yeah. Natalie, what's a bare minimum that folks in the crowd need to be using technology-wise?
I mean, social media, but you just have to use it to your advantage. Like even all my Zillow leads that I don't get in touch with or don't have success with, I add them on Facebook or I'll put them in my plug, and I continue to touch them throughout the year too.
Awesome. Let's hear it for Alice, Nick, Arlen, and Natalie, our local rock stars. Thanks, guys.